The death of Tyrone Power shocked Hollywood in 1958, and for decades many people wondered if his passing at only 44 years old could have been prevented. He was filming the epic movie Solomon and Sheba in Spain when tragedy struck. During an intense sword-fighting scene under the hot sun, he suddenly grabbed his chest and collapsed. The crew rushed to help him. He was taken to a hospital in Madrid, but he died before doctors could save him. At the time, the official cause was a massive heart attack. Many believed it was simply fate. Others said he worked too hard. Some whispered that stress, smoking, and the pressure of fame slowly destroyed his health. Now, many years later, doctors and historians agree that his death was not sudden in the true sense. It was the result of warning signs that had appeared earlier in his life. He had suffered chest pains before. He was known to smoke 3 to 4 packs of cigarettes a day. His father had also died young from heart problems. These facts, when looked at together, show a clear picture. His death was likely caused by coronary artery disease, a condition where the blood vessels that supply the heart become blocked. In the 1950s, medical knowledge was not as advanced as today. Treatments were limited and genetic testing did not exist. If he had lived in modern times, regular heart scans, cholesterol tests, and early treatment might have saved him. His story is not just about a movie star. It is about how ignoring health warnings can have serious consequences. It reminds us that even strong and handsome heroes are human. Behind the shining lights of Hollywood was a man pushing himself beyond his limits. His final moments were dramatic, but the true story began many years earlier, with small signs that were easy to ignore but deadly when combined. To understand how such a bright life ended so soon, we must go back to the beginning. Tyrone Power was born in 1914 in Cincinnati, Ohio, into a family deeply connected to the theater. His father, Tyrone Power Sr., was a respected stage and silent film actor. Acting was in his blood. From childhood, young Tyrone grew up hearing about performances, rehearsals, and life on stage. But his early years were not easy. His parents divorced when he was very young, and he was raised mainly by his mother. When he was only 17, tragedy struck again. His father died suddenly from a heart attack while they were preparing to work together. This moment left a deep emotional mark on him. Losing his father at such a young age may have shaped both his ambition and his stress. He wanted to prove himself. He wanted to carry the family name proudly. But success did not come immediately. In the early 1930s, he struggled to find strong roles. He worked in small parts and even as an extra. Rejections were common. However, he did not give up. His big break came in 1936 when he starred in Lloyd's of London. The film was a success, and suddenly Hollywood had a new leading man. He became known for his handsome face, charming smile, and strong screen presence. Audiences loved him. Studios saw him as the perfect romantic hero. But fame brought pressure. He was expected to work constantly. Studios controlled actors strictly in those days. They chose roles, schedules, and even public images. Tyrone became one of the top box office stars of his time. Movies like The Mark of Zorro made him a symbol of adventure and bravery. He performed sword fights with skill and confidence. Yet behind the camera, he was carrying emotional weight from his past and the heavy demands of success. As his career grew, so did the pressure. During the late 1930s and 1940s, he starred in many films across different genres. He acted in romantic dramas, action-adventures, musicals, and historical epics. He worked with famous actors and directors. His performances in Blood and Sand and The Razor's Edge showed that he was more than just a handsome face. He wanted serious roles. He wanted to grow as an artist. After serving in the United States Marine Corps during World War II, he returned to Hollywood changed. War leaves marks on the mind and heart. Many veterans of that time suffered from stress and emotional pain that was not openly discussed. Tyrone was no exception. He tried to break away from the romantic image the studio had built for him. One of his boldest choices was starring in Nightmare Alley, where he played a dark and troubled character. The film was not a box office success at first, but today it is seen as one of his best performances. Despite his success, his personal life was often unstable. He married 3 times. He had children he loved deeply. But fame, long filming schedules, and rumors placed strain on his relationships. At the same time, his smoking habit grew heavier. In the 1940s and 1950s, smoking was common and even encouraged in Hollywood. Few people understood how dangerous it truly was. Combined with stress, long working hours, and a family history of heart disease, his lifestyle slowly damaged his health. He experienced chest pain, known as angina, which is often an early warning of heart trouble. Doctors advised him to rest and stop smoking. But he continued working. The demands of filming, travel, and maintaining his image were constant. Like many hardworking people, he believed he could push through the pain. By 1958, the signs were clear, though perhaps not fully understood. While filming in Spain, he was working in physically demanding scenes, wearing heavy costumes under strong lights. The sword-fighting scene that ended his life required strength and endurance. When he collapsed, it was the final result of years of strain. Today, medical experts explain that coronary artery disease develops slowly over time. Fatty deposits build up inside arteries, reducing blood flow to the heart. Smoking increases this process. Stress also affects blood pressure and heart health. When a blockage becomes severe, a heart attack can occur suddenly. If emergency treatment is not immediate, survival chances are low. In modern times, treatments like angioplasty, bypass surgery, and advanced medication have saved many lives. But in 1958, such options were limited. Tyrone Power's death was tragic, but it was not mysterious in a supernatural way. It was the result of genetics, lifestyle, and the medical limits of his era. He was buried at Hollywood Forever Cemetery in Los Angeles, and fans around the world mourned him. His son was born 2 months after his death, a bittersweet reminder of life continuing after loss. Today, his films are restored and watched by new generations. His story teaches an important lesson. Fame does not protect anyone from illness. Success does not replace health. Listening to doctors, reducing stress, and caring for the body are not signs of weakness but wisdom. The mystery of his death, after many years of reflection and medical understanding, reminds us that small warning signs should never be ignored. His life was bright but short, filled with talent, courage, love, and struggle. And in remembering him, we also remember the importance of protecting our own hearts, both emotionally and physically. Even after his passing, the story of Tyrone Power did not fade away. In fact, in many ways, it grew stronger with time. During the late 1950s and early 1960s, Hollywood was changing. The old studio system that once controlled actors so strictly was slowly losing power. A new generation of actors was rising, bringing different styles and personalities to the screen. Yet many fans still remember Tyrone as the symbol of classic Hollywood charm. He represented a time when heroes wore capes, swords flashed in dramatic duels, and romance filled the screen with elegance. His performance in The Mark of Zorro continued to inspire future actors who wanted to play masked heroes. Directors often studied his calm confidence and physical grace. Even decades later, when adventure films became more modern and complex, critics would still mention his name as one of the finest swashbuckling stars ever captured on film. His ability to combine strength with sensitivity made him unique. He could fight fiercely in one scene and show deep emotion in the next. This balance made audiences trust him. But what makes his story even more powerful today is not only his talent, but the lessons hidden in his final years. Medical experts now explain that heart disease often develops silently. In the 1950s, many people did not understand cholesterol levels, blood pressure risks, or the long-term damage of smoking. Cigarettes were advertised everywhere, even by celebrities. Few warnings were printed on packages. Tyrone's heavy smoking habit was not unusual for his time. However, when combined with family history and constant stress, it created a dangerous situation. His father had also died young from heart problems, suggesting a genetic weakness. Today, doctors use advanced tests to detect blocked arteries early. Simple lifestyle changes, regular exercise, balanced diet, and quitting smoking can greatly reduce risk. Looking back, many believe that if he had access to modern treatment, he might have lived many more years. His passing became a reminder that fame and wealth cannot protect someone from health problems. In interviews years later, co-stars described him as hardworking and proud, sometimes too determined to slow down. He did not want to disappoint producers or fans. That sense of duty, while admirable, may have pushed him beyond safe limits. His unfinished film, Solomon and Sheba, had to be completed with another actor, and audiences could feel the sadness behind its release. The movie became not just a biblical epic, but a symbol of a life interrupted too soon. His personal legacy continued through his children. His son, Tyrone Power Jr., was born 2 months after his father's death. Growing up without knowing his father personally must have been difficult, yet he carried the family name into a new era of acting. His daughters also followed artistic paths, showing that creativity truly ran in the family. Meanwhile, film historians began to look more seriously at Tyrone's deeper performances, especially in Nightmare Alley. At first, that movie had not been fully appreciated, but as years passed, critics recognized its bold storytelling and dark themes. They saw that Tyrone had courage to step away from safe romantic roles and explore complex characters. This willingness to take risks showed his artistic growth. Today, restored versions of his films are available on Blu-ray and streaming platforms, allowing new generations to discover his work. Film festivals sometimes honor classic Hollywood stars, and his name often appears among the greats of his time, alongside Clark Gable and Errol Flynn. While those men also faced personal struggles and health issues, Tyrone's early death at 44 remains especially heartbreaking. He was at a stage in life when many actors begin their most mature and meaningful work. The mystery that once surrounded his death has now become clearer through medical knowledge, but the emotional mystery, why talented lives sometimes end early, still touches us deeply. His story teaches balance. Work is important, but rest is necessary. Passion is powerful, but health must come first. Love and family matter more than public image. In the end, Tyrone Power remains not only a symbol of Golden Age Hollywood glamour, but also a human being whose life reflects both brilliance and vulnerability. Remembering him is not just about looking back at old films. It is about learning from his journey. His smile on screen may never fade, but behind that smile was a heart that needed care. That simple truth, understood more clearly today than ever before, may be the most important lesson his life leaves for us. More than 6 decades have passed since the sudden death of Tyrone Power, yet his final hours still feel dramatic and emotional, almost like a scene from one of his own films. On November 15, 1958, Power was in Madrid, working on the historical epic Solomon and Sheba. He was only 44 years old, still handsome, still admired, and still considered one of Hollywood's great romantic stars. During a fencing scene with his co-star George Sanders, something suddenly went wrong. Witnesses later said that Power looked pale and tired. At first, people thought he was just exhausted from the long hours of filming. Movie sets can be stressful places, especially when actors perform physical scenes under hot lights while wearing heavy costumes. But this was not simple tiredness. Power began to feel strong pain in his chest. He tried to continue because, like many actors of his time, he believed in finishing the scene. However, the pain became worse. Filming stopped immediately, and he was taken away for medical help. Within hours, the shocking news spread. Tyrone Power had died from a massive heart attack. The world was stunned. Fans could not believe that such a strong and charming star could be gone so quickly. Newspapers around the world reported his death, and many people began asking questions. How could a man who looked so healthy die so suddenly? Was there a hidden illness? Did stress or lifestyle play a role? At the time, medical knowledge was not as advanced as it is today. Heart disease was not fully understood by the public, and many people still thought heart attacks mostly happened to much older men. Because of this, rumors began to grow. Some people whispered about overwork. Others blamed Hollywood pressure. A few even suggested mysterious causes. Over the years, These questions slowly turned into what some called a mystery. But was it really a mystery, or was it simply a tragic medical event that people did not fully understand at the time? To understand the truth, we must look at Power's life before that day in Madrid. Tyrone Power was born into a famous acting family, and from a young age, he carried both talent and expectation on his shoulders. When he signed with 20th Century Fox in the 1930s, he quickly became one of the studio's biggest stars. Films like The Mark of Zorro and Blood and Sand made him a box office favorite. Audiences loved his smile, his athletic ability, and his romantic presence. However, fame also brought pressure. The studio system in Hollywood during that era controlled almost every part of an actor's life. Stars worked long hours, followed strict contracts, and often had little control over their schedules. Power served in the military during World War II, which showed his bravery and sense of duty. After the war, he returned to acting, but he also wanted more serious roles that would prove his talent beyond his handsome face. Over the years, he worked constantly, sometimes traveling far from home for filming. By the late 1950s, he was balancing career demands with family responsibilities. Some biographers later suggested that he had been under stress, trying to maintain his image, while also searching for deeper artistic respect. Medical experts who reviewed his case many years later explained that heart disease can develop quietly over time. Factors such as genetics, smoking, stress, and diet can all increase risk. In the 1950s, many people smoked heavily, and it was common even on film sets. There were no strong public health warnings like we have today. Looking back with modern knowledge, doctors now believe that Power likely had underlying heart disease that had not been diagnosed. The fencing scene did not cause the heart attack by itself, but the physical effort may have triggered a condition that was already there. In simple words, his death was sudden, but it was not magical or mysterious. It was the result of a serious heart problem that no one had clearly seen before it was too late. Over time, as medical science improved, the mystery slowly faded, replaced by a clearer understanding of how fragile even strong-looking people can be. When news of the death of Tyrone Power reached the United States from Madrid, the reaction was immediate and emotional. Fans gathered outside theaters that were still showing his films. Radio stations interrupted regular programs to share updates. Many people felt as if they had lost someone they personally knew because for over 20 years Power had been a constant face on cinema screens. His image as a brave hero in adventure films and a passionate lover in romantic dramas made him seem larger than life. That is why his sudden death at only 44 felt almost impossible to accept. At the time, official reports clearly stated that he had suffered a massive heart attack while filming Solomon and Sheba in Spain. Doctors who treated him in Madrid explained that nothing could be done to save him once the attack began. However, in the 1950s, many ordinary people did not fully understand how heart disease worked. Today, we know that coronary arteries can slowly become narrow due to plaque buildup, a process called atherosclerosis. This narrowing reduces blood flow to the heart. When a blockage becomes severe, it can suddenly stop blood flow completely, causing a heart attack. But in Power's time, this medical explanation was not widely discussed in simple language. Instead, people focused on dramatic ideas. Some believed that the intense fencing scene caused his heart to fail instantly. Others thought the pressure of Hollywood fame must have broken him. A few even suggested emotional stress or hidden personal struggles as secret reasons. Over the years, writers and gossip columns added more drama, turning a medical tragedy into something that sounded mysterious. Yet modern medical reviews make the situation clearer. Experts now believe that Power likely had significant coronary artery disease. Reports suggest he was a heavy smoker, which was very common among actors of his generation. Smoking increases the risk of heart disease because it damages blood vessels and raises blood pressure. In addition, the demanding filming schedule, travel, and physical exertion may have placed extra strain on his already weakened heart. The fencing scene did not create the disease. It likely triggered the final event. In simple terms, his heart had been under silent stress for years. When the moment of intense physical action arrived, his body could no longer cope. What seemed like a shocking mystery was, In fact, a tragic but understandable medical emergency. The final piece of this long-standing question came as medical historians and biographers revisited the details of his death with modern knowledge. Autopsy findings at the time already showed evidence of severe heart damage, but the public did not focus on these details. Instead, they focused on the story, a handsome star collapsing dramatically on a film set. Over time, that image became stronger than the medical facts. Yet when doctors today look back, they see clear warning signs. Family history may have played a role, since heart disease can run in families. Lifestyle habits of the 1940s and 1950s, including smoking and diets high in fat, were also risk factors. Long working hours without modern health screenings meant many people did not know they were at risk until it was too late. In the case of Tyrone Power, there is no strong evidence of conspiracy, poison, or hidden secrets. The most reliable explanation remains a massive myocardial infarction, which is the medical term for a severe heart attack. His death also had a direct effect on the production of Solomon and Sheba. The studio had to stop filming, and later the role was recast with Yul Brynner. This change was costly and emotionally difficult for the cast and crew. It also showed how unexpected tragedies can affect many lives at once. In the end, the so-called mystery was solved not by secret documents or shocking discoveries, but by time and medical progress. As science improved, understanding replaced speculation. Today, his story serves as a reminder that heart disease can affect even those who appear strong and healthy. It also reflects how public imagination can sometimes turn simple facts into dramatic legends. Tyrone Power remains remembered not for the mystery of his death, but for the powerful performances he left behind. His films continue to be watched, and his legacy lives on in the history of Hollywood's golden age. Even after doctors made it clear that Tyrone Power died from a massive heart attack, the emotional side of the story continued to grow. Part of the reason was the powerful image the public had of him. For more than 20 years, he had represented strength, courage, romance, and elegance on screen. In films like The Black Swan and Captain from Castile, he played bold heroes who survived danger and fought bravely until the end. Because audiences saw him win sword fights and face enemies without fear, it became difficult to imagine that his own heart could fail him so suddenly. This difference between his screen image and real life created shock. It also created space for imagination. People often struggle to accept that someone who looks strong can have a hidden illness. In the 1950s, regular heart checkups were not common. There were no advanced scans like we have today, and many men ignored early warning signs such as chest pain or shortness of breath.